under the name Submerse. I'm originally from the UK, but I lived in Japan for 6-7 years now. I make hip hop, I guess, kind of stuff. Yeah.
What's up? I'm next.
Yeah.
I'm Fitz Ambro. I'm out here living in Tokyo. I make music as well. I'm originally from Canada, the east coast of Canada. I've been in Japan for about 9 years. Yeah, and that's me. The end.
All right. So my name is Devin Morrison. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I make music as well, and yeah, I mean, I sing, play keys, produce, and been living in Japan for 8 months.
Man, when I was a kid, I was really into Japanese video games, and I guess that was the first thing that made me interested in Japan. After that, getting older, like checking things online. Japanese food is really good. I want to like the culture is really different than it is in the UK. So that was like the first thing that made me want to come to Japan. And then after visiting, it was just like, you know, everyone's like really chill. The music scene is really dope, and that gave me the kind of like the thing I needed to like move out here. How about you guys? What was your
I originally came out here to collect records because I was really interested in the record stores in Japan. At the time, and even now, Japan has a reputation in the world. You know, it's like a hot spot for records. So I wanted to come out and see some of that. Buy a bunch of records, and then life just started moving quickly, and 10 years later, I'm still here doing the same thing.
I came out here just to see what would happen, you know, with my music. And, you know, I met a lot of good friends out here, and they just really helped to boost my career, I guess. And while I was out here, I was like, you know, why not be an artist, you know? So that's kind of what's been going on.
I'm really inspired by, I think like video game music was like the first kind of music I ever got into. Where I think game music kind of covers every kind of genre there is. But being a kid growing up on like 90s East Coast hip hop really inspires me. But I think now, like, it's people I know, like, I get really inspired by like both these guys' stuff. It's like a healthy competition thing, man. Like when they play me something new that's like really dope, I'm like, oh man, I need to like step up and make some new stuff. Or I think just the people that you're around, like the people I'm around, inspire me the most to like keep making stuff and make stuff that I can play to them and be like, yo, I think this is great, and wait for a reaction to see if they think it's good or not.
Just life in general, you know, every day there's new things happening. Of course, I'm inspired by music, my friends, old records, new records. I'm really into art as well, like old traditional, from traditional to like, you know, the 70s, 80s, 90s design, stuff like that. So I even collect some art books and stuff. It gives me a lot of ideas and sort of concepts and stuff for music. But yeah, just life in general. I get inspiration basically from everywhere. You know, it's life and living.
I like that, man. It's very
Yeah.
It's real. It's real.
Yo, it's nice to be inspired by something visual rather than something weird. Like something that I got into recently, or in the past like year or two, was just like playing a movie with no sound, and then I'd lose one scene in the movie, and then I'd start like making a beat. But I try and like kind of imagine, the feel of this particular scene of like how it would kind of feel. I think that there was a bunch of movies, man. Babel was one of them. There was a scene where it's shot like in Japan. It's really beautiful. I just kind of looked it up and was like, I wondered like how much you can change this scene by the tone of the music. So like when it was like a little bit more like major, it made the scene a little bit more like enjoyable. But then when the slow motion parts come in and then you make something that's kind of minor, it makes it like real dark. But it's nice to have like a visual aid to like write too.
That's dope. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, man. That's for me. I grew up listening to a lot of gospel, a lot of jazz, a lot of hip hop. Both of my parents are musicians. My father's side is a long line of just a bunch of musicians. So, for me, I was always learning from that. As of right now, with friends like this, they've been putting me on to like different stuff, and I've been really into surrealist art lately. It's kind of like one of my weird little fetishes, I guess. So that's really been influencing my music.
I pretty much use Ableton is the main thing I've used for like 10 years now. And then whatever I can get my hands on at the time. Currently right now, pretty much Ableton and a DX7. Thanks. I think it's heavy as hell, man. But yeah, Yamaha DX7 is pretty much my go-to keys right now. Just whatever's around at the time, but Ableton's always my workhorse. The SP404 kind of broke recently, RIP. But that has been my like thing for like years. That's been with me to like every country I've played in.
You bring that shit back to life, man.
Yeah. Man. I want to see Ghost. You're gonna hook me up.
My shit died on stage, man.
I remember that.
But yeah, man, the SP Ableton. Couple synths, like I use Contact quite a lot, native instruments like Contact patches for like rows and things like that, and then I guess like sampling, like buying records, ripping shit from YouTube, wherever I can get my hands on it.
Word.
You're like MP all day.
Yeah. I'm using the MPC 1000 basically for everything. From time to time I get some like software synth from like the homies might give me some sort of software that I never use. Never open, never touch it. But I got some like software stuff as well that I don't really use a whole lot, but I use Ableton to record into the computer and do some editing and stuff. I'm trying to learn like just some basic stuff on that. Luckily, I got friends that are pretty much like geniuses with that stuff, so I can learn a lot from my friends, both of y'all. Yeah, but that's basically it. I use the MPC 1000 for everything.
I've never seen anyone like work at MPC 1000 like this guy. Like, he'll play some stuff and I'm like, you do that with that?
Another thing is, like, I never learned how to actually use the machine. So even my friends that use the MPC 1000, when we're working together, they're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is fucked up. Because most of my friends that use it, they actually know how to use it, and they use it sort of the way that I guess it was built to be used. I just sort of like figure out my own little way how to use it.
I think everybody's like that for everything though. Like everyone that I've made a track with using Ableton, everybody uses Ableton in a different way. Like when I get like a project file from like Chad or like anyone, I open it and I'm like, I don't really understand what you're doing right here. Like even the way you use it is a little bit different to me. Like you're like, oh, we should like do this up, or the way people do like automation and stuff is different. Like once you get your own kind of like way to do things, you're like, oh, I'm really fast at doing it this way. Somebody else is like, oh, but I do it this way. It's such like a diverse tool that people just figure out their own ways how to use it best. But it's always interesting to see other people how they use it. I think Ableton's main thing is their clip launch mode. I never really use that mode unless I'm playing shows. Like I always start from like sequence mode and go from like left to right. Pretty standard like kick, snare, plus that drums, bass line, keys, whatever like next. But it's yeah, people tend to use it really differently. That's fine.
Yeah. I think you're really efficient with it though. Because whenever I go to his house and it's like, I'm like, oh snap, I could have just did that. It's much easier. But I use mainly I use Studio One, PreSonus Studio One. I was using Ableton for a long time, and then I kind of switched just because I wanted to edit more audio, be able to get my vocals a little cleaner. As for instruments, I play keys, upright bass, and drums a little bit, but mainly keys. I think I use my program a little differently than everyone else did. You know, just figuring out what works for me. I have a DX7 too. Yeah, you got the newer one though. You got the DX7 too. I have the original fat, like super heavy joint, but I love it. It's just very hard to transport it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now it's been releasing mix CDs in Japan for I don't know how long have you been doing mix CDs for? Years, 5 years, right?
Maybe like 3 years.
3 years, and we've been recently we're just wrapping up like a little EP together that we're gonna release hopefully this summer. So we figured it was a pretty good time to do like a little mix CD. Like my last record, there was Fitz was on 2 tracks, and I think we've been kind of making stuff together kind of smoothly. Like it's not really been any like stress or anything. So yeah, I think in the build up to this collab EP, we figured it was a good time to put out a little mix CD and just make some money, really. But yeah, just kind of like push our names like even more. The quickest way for me is there's so much more hip hop here than there is in the UK, and that's pretty much it. Like the UK is very into its own thing, which is cool. They've been doing their own thing for years. They were the originators of things like acid house and jungle and
Garage.
yeah, all that stuff. And they're very proud and very into their own thing. Hip hop always took like a back foot to like every other genre of music. I was really into UK hip hop when I was like in college, when I was a teenager, but it was always super underground. So for me, the kind of stuff I do, I feel a lot more home here, being surrounded by more people that are into like the same kind of thing. So yeah, it's a lot different. Like it's more open in Japan to like every different kind of genre. They're not just kind of like, you know, we're Japan, this is our thing, this is what we do. The UK is kind of like that, but yeah, I feel more open here, and I feel like I can connect with a lot more people. So for me, I feel better being here.
Well, I'm from like a real small town in Canada, so just like population-wise, the dynamic is totally different. But even big cities, I spent some time in the bigger cities in Canada, and just like the population dynamic changes everything, because there's just so many more people in Tokyo compared to like Toronto, for example. And I think the audience in Japan, people tend to really get into their hobbies. So anything that you really are interested in, if you have any kind of hobby in life, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be music, you can come to Tokyo and like find that little subculture, and it will be like really, really developed. So I think the same goes for all genres, especially in Tokyo. So for the music that we're doing, I think we can all really enjoy it because it's sort of really developed compared to where we come from. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same for all three of us. So.
Yeah. I mean, I come from the city of boy bands, you know what I'm saying? So, like, Orlando's pretty much known for just, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Chin Pinch. But, so, I mean, honestly, growing up for me, like, there wasn't too much music from Orlando that I could really, connect with. So I was always growing up listening to Slum Village and, people like that. So coming out here was so cool because I was really able to kind of make my own sound, and people I was around was really digging it. And, when I got around to performing out here, everyone was vibing with it. So I was like, man, it's dope. And another thing I'll add is that the community here, as far as like the relationship between beat makers and producers, like everyone is so cool with each other. So, it's competition, but it's not shiesty. It's not, it's just really friendly. Everyone's cool with each other.
Oh man, everyone. Even like labels, promoters, like everyone.
Which is weird because if you go back to like America, like maybe Cali or
it's
Europe,
like a battle, right?
Yeah, like everyone's stepping to
I look at it more as I'm trying to build with everybody.
Yeah.
And when I hear people's tracks, like, 'cause everyone's doing such different things and everyone does their thing, so it's like, I don't ever hear, like, any of my homies' tracks and be like, oh, I gotta, like, do something. I'm just like, whenever it comes to, like, the dynamic between me and my friends out here, it's all like, I'm just trying to work and, like, put what we have together and move together.
Oh, yeah.
That's like my main thing, because I think everyone's doing their thing and everyone's got such a, their own lane that, for me it's not at all like a competitive thing. I don't feel any sort of competitive vibe or...
Nah, I see it as like personal, healthy competition.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like if I see you put a release out, I'm like, man, you got so many dope tracks. Maybe not like competitive. Maybe like it's more inspiration than it's competitive. So like, yo, I want to be with you, moving at the same speed to like release like new stuff that's like dope and consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the fact that everyone's together moving is like kind of one force. If you see somebody doing really well, you're like, that's great. I'm happy they are, because overall, it's moving everyone together for the scene, for events, for music, for producers. Like if someone does something really big, then you don't feel like, I wish that was me, or like fuck those dudes. Like we should be doing that. It's like good shit, because we can all move with you, kind of thing. So yeah, it's for the culture. Yeah. Yeah, and you don't really get that. You don't get as strong as that vibe. I don't feel where I'm from.
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry. Man, people who want to be like, I don't know, man. People who want to be like indie artists and do things themselves, like, I think that now is the best time for people to do stuff by themselves. There's so many services and things out now to help completely independent artists progress. Like things like SoundCloud, being able to, upload your own sound and get it out there. But then like things like Bandcamp have come along where you can sell your own music and you can connect with other like-minded people and sell stuff without being signed to a specific label, or without being like, without having to strive to be signed by someone, So I think like, if people ever message me saying like, oh, like what should I do to release on a label, or what should I do this, like the same thing I message everyone. It's just like, do your own thing. Like if you're feeling someone's music, great. Take inspiration from them and add it to your own stuff. Take it from what you like. If you're really into a movie, you're into Blade Runner, you really like that kind of like sound that they put in that movie, then add your own beats to that kind of sound and like just do your own thing. And just try and put it out there online and just try and connect with like-minded people. Like I don't think any of us would be where we are unless we connected with like-minded people who then had contacts to like labels or who inspired each other to keep moving forward. I think it's just you need to find your clique, whether that's online or whether it's in person. But yeah, just meet people who you feel vibe with, who do similar things, and I guarantee that you'll get better at what you do in a short amount of time.
Couldn't have said it any better. For real though, that's exactly how I feel.
I mean, to add on that, being in a city where like everyone is so freaking prolific, it makes me just want to just put something out. And I've learned being out here, just like put stuff out, like do an official release, even if it's just by yourself. You know? Yeah. Because honestly, people need something to kind of go by, usually, you know. And he's so freaking prolific, and so is he. So like the fact that they're my friends, it's like, all right. He's like, I need to get my game up, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, put stuff out, and like you said, use your own experiences to, you know, form your own sound.
Well, okay. Oh man, that's difficult. My favorite place. I like Akihabara because I like to play Street Fighter Third Strike a lot. So on a Sunday, like if there's nothing going on, like I'm trying to play Street Fighter.
In the arcade?
Yeah.
You go up there?
There's an arcade called Hey, and it's one of the oldest arcades in Tokyo, and they have 10 machines for Third Strike, and it's like a battle. Like I get whooped by like a 10-year-old kid, and then I whoop like a 50-year-old man, but then a 60-year-old man will come and beat my ass down.
Are you
crazy?
Crazy.
Yeah. Akihabara is pretty fun, especially like video games for record shopping. Yeah. Maybe Shimokizawa is my favorite area to go for shopping for records. I like Flash Disc Ranch. Like I only tend to buy releases, like new releases that like that have like a bit like 5 a year, like new stuff that has like a really big impact on me that I think are like great albums. Most of the time I'm trying to dig for the cheapest stuff there is. So like dollar bins, pound bins, 100 yen bins, usually like the more they have is the better place for me. So like maybe Flash Disc Ranch in Shimokizawa. But obviously, yeah, you know, I love like Jazzy Sport, all those places, but yeah, I want cheap stuff, so Flash Disc Ranch.
Yeah, I'm the same for records, strictly the cheapest that I can find. I go to a lot of like recycle shops as well, because I sort of rip around the city on bike, so I know a lot of different little like mom and pop recycle shops, so they got a lot of records that they'll sell for like, you know, 100 yen, $1 that are actually, you know, expensive stuff. So that's always a gold mine if you can, you know, find some recycle shops. But yeah, Disc Union.
Oh yeah. I don't think people give Disc Union as much love as they should, because I think a lot of people see Disc Union as like the chain store, right? Yeah. And like it is kind of pricey, but
yeah, they have sales though all the time.
They
like,
do.
They'll have sales like maybe once a month, once every 2 months.
Their selection is like crazy. So like I think like Japanese like 80s city pop was like, I think it was the thing that foreigners wanted to buy the most of that like 80s kind of Japanese sound. And for years, like it was sold out everywhere because everyone wanted to buy that stuff. But then recently, like Disc Union have been able to like stock a bunch of those records again, and they're kind of expensive. But like, you know, if you own that stuff, why wouldn't you price it quite high if that many people were after it? But I think, yeah, man, Disc Union's crazy. Every single one is pretty individual too, and their selection is just insane. If you got the money for it, man, you could drop serious money every time you visit.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a digger, to be honest with you. I'm just now starting to get into that world, living out here. But I am a keyboard freak, and I love synthesizing and stuff like that. And there was this place that you took me to.
Okay.
What was the name of that joint? Yes, 5G. Yo.
In Harajuku?
Yes.
It's the spot, man.
Is this the spot that we got your
No,
the
spot we went with at Chigoya, opposite Tower Records.
they're those two.
Yeah.
5G has like all these retro synthesizers in like mint condition, like Prophet 5s and all that stuff, and it's just like,
Man, that's like if people do music and they come to visit Japan and they're like, what's good in Japan? That's in the top 3 of places you should visit. It's like 1 minute from Harajuku Station. It's called 5G, and they're a specialist of vintage synthesizers and electronics, and it's pretty crazy. It's really special. Like,
you can just walk in there like Ryan Leslie, just play everything.
You can just play everything.
They ain't gonna bother you.
So many good like synths, and like you even see the occasional like MP in there, or like SP 1200 or something, but their actual like synthesizers and keyboards, like their selection is like untouched. Like it's really good.
Like,
Yo, shout out WESTSIDE Love. Shout out everyone in Taiwan. Like, I'd love to come through sometime and play some shows. I know these guys would too. It's on the list for sure. If you get like a second to check out any of our stuff, please do. We appreciate it a lot. Much love, man. Bless.